My name is Juan Jose, and welcome to Washington Now. It's a show that we're going to be interviewing people locally for the coming up election. I understand you're going to be running for election. But before we get started, I do need to say something because I've done this show a couple years. Unfortunately, I have a little bit of bad news. Yazmin Ford, who've done this program with me several years, is no longer with us, and I want to honor her past. And she was a wonderful co-host and beautiful person. But I just want to say that we are honoring tonight in her name. Thank you. Well, let's get started. Sandesh.
Yeah. Sadalge.
Sadalge. God,
Yeah.
I knew it. Sandesh Sadalge. I mean, honestly, I've been trying to remember your name. I'm terrible at names.
It's in your head now.
Yeah, it is. But bottom line, welcome to Washington Now. And this program is designed to, help local people who are running for a position. I want people to get to know them. And I'm also going to do a little Spanglish too, because you're going to translate this a little bit. Buenas noches para los que nos están viendo. Este programa va a ser en Spanglish, a little bit of Spanglish. Ahorita lo vamos a hacer más en inglés porque mi persona aquí él no habla español, pero está bien. So vamos a hacer un poquito. So I'll stop you once in a while and translate and talk about things. Quiero decir que ahora en la noche vamos a hacer un poquito de honor por este programa porque yo tuve una persona que estuvo en mi corazón, que estuvo conmigo muchos años. Yazmin Ford era mi co-host y este año pues no está con nosotros y quiero honorar este programa para eso. Pero vamos a seguir comenzando y vamos a hablar con Sandesh. Okay? Well, simple question. What are you running for?
I am running to be on the Tacoma City Council, representing District 4. And the District 4 includes most of the east side and then the south end Lincoln District area.
Lincoln District area? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's good. One of the questions people always ask a candidate is like, what have you done? But as me and you had a little conversation prior to, I would like to know the story of how you got where we are today, because it's an amazing story. Es una historia muy importante porque él está corriendo por la posición 4 aquí en Tacoma, que es todo el lado de oeste y un poquito de la área de Lincoln area. Pero la historia de a mi candidato, él tiene una historia muy interesante, so lo queremos oír, ¿ok? So how did you end up in this chair?
It's surprising to me as well because I don't have a background in politics. I was always aware of politics. I never thought I'd be in politics. I applied after my mom died.
Oh,
That's
wow.
really what happened. My mom had cancer. She passed away. She and I had a lot of conversations before she passed away. We connected in some ways. And I was taking some time off, mourning and grieving, and an opportunity came to apply to fill out the spot of also someone who passed away, Catherine Ushka, my predecessor. She also had cancer and passed away.
Yeah, it's been about a year.
Yeah, my mother passed away roughly 4 or 5 months before Catherine did. And I didn't want to make rich people richer anymore, which was most of almost every one of the jobs I had in some way was making a rich person I didn't really know that well richer. And I had an opportunity to do something meaningful and purposeful, and I've been very fortunate.
Yeah. So was there anything that she coaxed you, inspire you? Because it's one thing from making someone rich to running actually a city, and especially Tacoma is not like a little city. It's actually it's the third city to run in the state.
It's only third by 3,000 people,
right?
I know. So it's only a little bit bigger.
So it's quite a responsibility. So what was the things that your mom said to you that kind of made you accept this challenge?
My mother, my mother was always, she was very loving, but she was somewhat strict. And so I don't think I really fully understood her and fully connected with her until well into my adulthood. But, in the last few months that she was really sick, she started talking about her childhood in India, which she never really talked about. And she grew up in a very, very rural town.
Oh, wow.
Like all the way out and way in the country.
In Mexico, we call it el rancho.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And her parents were farmers, is the closest translation. But she talked about how there are people who had a responsibility to the land, and you worked with people who worked with you to work the land, and your responsibility was to your village, to each other, and taking care of each other. And she was telling me stories about that when she was growing up, which she'd never really told me about. And I think that stuck with me after she passed. And I think that was one of the things
He who listens to his parents remembers, huh?
I wanted to... It was meaningful to me to understand that my past comes from a family of people who, care and were leaders in their little villages. And that had this conscientious, responsibility. Right? They took that very seriously. And I actually explained why my mom was so strict. When she started telling me these stories, I realized that's how my mom grew up. She grew up with this, needing to be responsible and needing to do the right thing for everyone around you. And so she was loving in that way, but she also wanted you to do the right thing all the time because of that.
Well, it sounds like you did the right thing because here we are, right? I mean... So
it's been a tough year, but
yeah, well, it's a learning experience. Well, then let's get to that. Vamos a hablar de eso. I'm going to say a little bit in Spanish, what you just told me, just so people who speaks only Spanish. Él me dice que yo le pregunté porque él no viene de un lado de mucha política, ¿verdad? Él estaba inspirado por su madre, que su madre creció como en un rancho y aprendió cómo es la vida así. Pero también él tuvo unas pláticas antes de que su madre, porque su madre ya no estuvo con nosotros, y se quedó con esas pláticas. Y ahorita vamos a platicar un poquito cómo llegó a ser uno de los consulados de la ciudad, que aquí es una posición muy importante en la ciudad de Tacoma. Okay, so then explain a little bit about Catherine maybe, and how you ended up being asked, and your application process.
So Catherine Ushka was my predecessor. She was in her second term. She had cancer and she passed away. But prior to that, she had sponsored something called the McKinley Hill Neighborhood Plan. And I got involved in some community service activities through that. I was on the steering committee for that. And she and I got to know each other. She asked me to be on the planning commission for 1 year. And that was my first real experience on anything
with
really
all the
political.
Meetings, I call it
meetings. And I thought that would really prepare me, and then I got to council member. I'm like, wow, this is a lot more. It helped a little, but you still learn a lot.
You got thrown in the fire, basically.
Yeah. I came on right before a very, very, very tough budget. That was one of my, one of the things I wanted. I have a degree in math. I was in finance for a really long time. So I wanted someone that had that background looking at the budget.
Yeah.
And there were a few other things around land use change and what was called Home in Tacoma.
Home in Tacoma. Yeah,
those are the primary things I really wanted to work on.
So then basically you were locally down working with Catherine, and then tragedy happened, and then now you were asked by community members to, or was it you saying, okay, I want to step
No,
up?
I was asked. I didn't even really even consider it, but several people came up to me and asked me to at least apply. One of them was Marty Campbell, but there were several others. And I said, okay, I might as well
go for it, huh?
25
So
people.
how was that process? I mean, did you prepare? Was it hard? What do you just tell us a little bit about it?
I mean, the first part was questions. I answered questions, but I did it pretty quick. I was actually I was on the East Coast. I grew up in New York City most of my life, so I was visiting my sister, and I filled out the application, left it, didn't think that was gonna happen, and then I found out that I was in the finalist. There were 6 people who were brought into. I did an interview for this job in front of everybody on camera.
A panel,
Yeah, and there were questions.
A panel interview, yeah.
Yeah, and we had to answer those questions at that time. It was my first real time out in public in that way. And then somehow I was chosen, and I've been doing the job, and quite frankly, didn't know what this job was. But I will say in this last year, it's been very meaningful and very purposeful.
Oh, good. Well, let's talk about your year. I mean, at this time, it sounds like so you were probably really happy. You're like, yeah, I won. But then, like you said, it was probably like, what did I win, right?
Yes, yeah. What did I win?
What did I win? I remember that feeling because I got in the boards here myself before. So anyways, and then, so you said it was quite of a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
Right, a curve. And then, so basically, I'm going to say in Spanish a little bit what you just explained to me. Sandesh me dice que él aplicó porque le preguntaron gente local. Él trabajó con la Catherine, que era la que estaba antes de consulado de aquí de la ciudad de Tacoma, y él participó con ella en un programa, y con ese programa entendió un poco cómo correr la ciudad o proyectos. Pero ya cuando le preguntaron todos que aplique, fui a Nueva York y llenó una aplicación y no supo nada. Ya supo cuando agarraron los finaleros y él era parte de uno. Entonces pasaron un proceso donde le preguntan preguntas. Y aquí está con nosotros. Mira, él tiene mucho, detrás de él es matemático, mathematics, right?
Yep.
Con matemáticas. Y entonces él le ayudó mucho eso porque iban a tener un año con muchos cambios de cómo correr la ciudad. So then you got the learning curve, and then so tell me about once you were in the board, like did you learn the processes? Were you focused on what features were you focused on for the city? What was like your first? Do you remember your first kind of things that you like? Oh, I got to focus on this.
The budget. The budget was number one. We had a $25 million deficit. Was trying to catch up. Other council members had months and months and months of updates. That was tough. I will say I was a vote. I think I was a tie-breaking vote.
Oh, wow.
We had an opportunity where we could potentially use one-time funds, $8.9 million, to plug a hole, and I made I was part of the
board decision
to continue to cut that, because that 8.9 million would become 12 million a year and a half later.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we could either kick the can down the road, or we can actually. And so in January we were looking through programs, and it's not to say those programs weren't important, but there's other things more important when you have a structural deficit.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. It's not like you're just nilly-willy picking. You gotta have a structure of.
No, and it was really tough because those decisions, it cost people jobs, right? I knew someone who was there in Tacoma Municipal Building, who was affected, who I found out later because of the cuts that we had to do. Again, it was either $8.9 million now or like $12 million a year from now.
And you would affect more people with 12 million
exactly.
versus the 8, yeah.
And so, so I know what that means. And I know that those decisions are not just numbers, they're people.
And it kind of puts you into training with what things coming up, right? Let's talk about the future here.
Well, we're going to have a little bit more of that with this scarcity mindset.
Scarcity coming up.
But that was the first big hard thing. We had a few other hard things, since. There's a few things I'm proud of, too.
Yeah, well, let's talk about, I'm going to say this in Spanish and I'll say it in English. Yo lo que quiero con mi programa es que lo conozcan a él más como persona, no como un político, porque si vas a votar noviembre 5, Los que pueden votar, especialmente la gente latina en esta zona, va a tener que poner un poquito más atención en votar y que conocer a los candidatos. Por eso hago este programa y con mi amigo Chris, Washington Now, queremos darle información a ustedes lo más posible para cuando vean sus votos, que acuerden el nombre del Señor y Sandesh, acuerden el nombre de Sandesh, the name Sandesh, remember the name, porque él está diciendo que aunque venga de un comienzo muy rápido, ya tiene como, how many months has it been now?
A little over a year.
Ya tiene un año de experiencia por la
14 months, maybe?
Como casi 14 meses, y porque lo selectaron porque es el pasado, pero ya tiene la información, ya sabe, ya está envuelto ahorita, so sería una buena persona para que piensen si quieren votar por él. La próxima semana vamos a tener otro candidato y más gentes. Pero lo que él está diciendo es que pues, tuve que aprender mucho de cómo manejar, porque tenían una deficiencia de 8 millones y entonces tuvieron que hacer algo porque si no se doblaba en unos 3 años más. Entonces, está hablando de eso. I'm going to say it in English now. For those who, in English, we're doing this program to help people who are doing voting, especially here in Tacoma, to get to know the candidates. You're going to have a pamphlet, but this is him. We are lucky enough and honored enough to have you here with me. And that's why I do these programs, because the more informed you are about the candidates, the better decisions you make. And I was saying that even though he doesn't have a major years of political background, he has the most important background. He has a 14-month actual doing the job, which a lot of people can talk about their politic lives, but you are actually doing the job, even without it. And so bottom line is we're going to continue to get to know him. We are going to ask him a little bit about, policies and homelessness and things. But I want you to know him as a person. Here's my neighbor. Actually, we found out we were almost neighbors. So, again, think about it. November 5th, get your ballots in. You should be getting your ballots in the mail.
November 4th this year.
Oh, November 4th. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I keep thinking last year. Yeah. November 4th. I apologize. Noviembre 4, no 5, perdón. Estaba pensando el año pasado. Pero también, pero no importa. Votar es votar. Y los más que pueden hacerlo, the more people that can do it, the more you have a choice of what's happening, especially what's going on nationally. This is not a national thing, but also it all starts from the municipal level.
Well, nationally is why I decided to run. When I first applied, a criticism that people have about me is when I first applied, I said I wasn't going to run. And I wasn't going to run because I didn't know what this job really was. I didn't know, I wanted to get something for home in Tacoma and the budget, but I had a career. I was going to go back to the career. But then this federal administration came into power.
Exactly.
And I realized that I represent a part of Tacoma that has been historically under-resourced. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Because there's better words to use that I don't think I can use at this
Not
time.
on the air.
Exactly, but we've been historically
Don't get me off
under-resourced.
the air.
And that kind of experience matters. And that combined with having met so many people and really connected with the community one-on-one, I said maybe I should run. It's not a lot of money. They don't pay you that much.
No. Whoever does this doesn't do it for money.
No, you don't do this for money, no.
Yeah, no. You do it for the love of the city. You love it for the citizens, and exactly what you said, making a difference. And community. To me, community is very important.
Yeah.
And we have to have a functioning city that supports everybody. But all right, well, let's talk a little bit about the city. I mean, at this point, there's a lot of major issues there. They deal specifically the budget, I'm assuming, again.
The budget's always going to be an issue.
Yeah,
We have a structural issue with the budget that we can't fix here. It needs to be done on a state level.
Well, I mean, you were talking about the national, lack of support now. Does
Yep.
that change your
And a
budget
lot
up
of-
to this day? They were just announcing
we're-
what's doing it's gonna be even more than people can,
Whether you agree with what's happening on the federal government or not, even if you agree with
Yeah.
everything that's happening,
No, this is municipal, yeah.
whether you agree with it or not, the end result of what is happening on that federal level is what I call chaos and turbulence on the local level.
Exactly.
Some people want that to happen
Yeah.
because they agree with it. And some people disagree with that, right? But either way, whether you agree or disagree with what that federal government is doing, the end product of what they're doing is doing chaos and turbulence. And that is what we are experiencing right now. And that is the
Exactly.
point. And the question is, how do you navigate chaos and turbulence with an even mindset? That's really important. Otherwise, we're just going to get worn out because we're running from one emergency to another emergency to another
Yeah,
emergency. You have
you're
to be-
reacting instead of being proactive kind of thing.
Exactly.
More reactions. Okay, well, the second one is always the home, rent agreements and the homeless in Tacoma
Yeah.
and the development.
Yep.
Is
All
there
of those
any,
are
is
correct.
there is there anything that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah.
What's your future vision of that?
So one of the major reasons why we have such a problem with homelessness and affordability of homes,
Affordability,
rentals,
yeah, rentals,
is because we just do not have enough homes for the people that have moved here. I was the first council member, maybe it's because I have a math background, and I said, how many homes should we have?
That's a good question. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody says we need more homes. But
I'm
they
like,
never
how
give-
many?
They never give you a target.
We have this many people in most cities. What is a healthy number of homes? Well, I won't get into all the details over here. I was the first one to answer. At the end of 2023, because
Yeah.
I was,
Right
at the
before
end
you
of
came in.
2023, we were likely in the city of Tacoma somewhere between 5 and 8,000 housing units behind. We have about 100,000 housing units. We needed 5 to 8,000. That actually makes a lot of sense because there's roughly 2.1 people per household, so you're looking at somewhere in the 11, 12,000 to 18, 20,000
20,000,
people who are looking for homes that would live in a separate place if they could. A lot of them are still living with their parents, and roughly about 10% of them are on the streets,
Yeah.
right?
No, yeah.
And if we need to build more homes, one of the reasons we couldn't build homes is Washington and Tacoma had what's called single family
Family
exclusive
yes.
zoning. We changed that this year. I was a big proponent of it, but I also had amendments to give a few small incentives to developers if they built home ownership units.
Are you talking like single homes or like multiple?
It could be condos, it could be townhomes, but it has to
Yeah.
be something where you're selling to someone rather than renting to them. If you built a home ownership unit that's sold to a person and not a corporation, it actually took 8 weeks
Yeah.
for us to figure out a way to do that because corporations are people too, according to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So we figure out a way around owner occupancy requirements. Then we would give developers some
Because some
incentives.
developers will build a big gigantic conglomerate, bunch of apartments, but they only have like 2 or 3 units within that as the affordable part.
Yeah, so nowadays we're doing things where you could build 4 units and get market rate, but if you want to build 2 more, those 2 additional have to be income limited. We're adding other limits. If you want to do a tax exemption, you have to do either 20 or 25%.
Yeah.
20 or 25% of your units have to be affordable. My amendments were all around home ownership because I think home ownership leads to home equity. Home equity can lead to generational wealth.
Yes.
It's also a way to basically make sure your rent doesn't go up because your mortgage stays the
The
same.
mortgage stays the same, yeah.
We're down to 56% home ownership rate in Tacoma. That's really
Wow.
low. We should, the state
Well,
is at
I'm
64.
assuming because of the pricing going up. I mean,
Well,
even though Tacoma
pricing is going up because we're not building enough homes.
Yeah.
We're not building enough homes. We're not building enough affordable homes. We're not building enough affordable ownership homes, right?
So how much growth do you see then? How much
Well, the growth
so far coming up? What's your projection on what you're
the
talking
growth
about?
management plan, I believe, is something about 2,500
2,500? Okay.
people per year, 2,500 to 3,000, if I'm not mistaken. It translates to about 1,200 to 1,500 houses that we're supposed to housing units that we need to
okay.
build every year, and we don't build that many. So we need to build more. We need to build them, responsibly. They can't be just kind of crazy things.
No, I understand. Zoning and everything's involved.
Yeah, the state has mandated some. So I've got, we could do an entire hour about zoning. We don't need to do that.
Well,
but I'm
welcome
really
back.
proud. I'm really proud that I was the first person that thought deeply enough to find ways of doing home ownership for middle income people.
And it's true. It's true. I was, when I moved to Tacoma, I think I was part of that part. Especially that's why I lived on the east side, right? That's where we're talking. We're just talking District 4. And even though I could afford better, I decided to invest my money where help a community. It was one of my requirements. Also let me talk a little bit in Spanish. For the people to understand. Le pregunté de qué piensa que trabajar, en qué proyectos trabajar para el futuro de Tacoma. Él está muy envuelto, le pregunté que las cosas que él estuvo envuelto. Estaba hablando mucho de cuánto va a tomar para correr la ciudad, pero también otra cosa que habló mucho que nos afecta a muchos, especialmente a los latinos, es que un domicilio, una casa, porque no tenemos tantas casas. How much was the people that we had here? 52%?
56%.
56
home ownership.
Home ownership.
Yeah.
Entonces tenemos nomás 56% de gente que son dueños de propiedades en Tacoma, que casi no es mucho. Y él cambió zonas con el Estado para poder hacer más casas, porque la respuesta de él dice es hacer más casas para que la gente tenga más domicilios, sean dueños de su propia casa para tener una mejor vida, no nomás porque si no vives para rentar, te estás viviendo la renta todo el tiempo, y si eres dueño de una casa también puede quedar al mismo nivel por muchos años. Pero también otra cosa que él está trabajando en esas reglas, él se especializa en eso. So then the next question, la pregunta que sigue es, the next question, economic development, I know we need jobs. So what is your position with economic development for Tacoma? What are the projects, what are the things that you see that would bring economic wealth to the area?
What I've noticed, I was a small business owner here in Tacoma. That's what I was doing prior to this. What I think is important to understand about business in Tacoma is, we have a few big employers. We got some hospitals, and you got JBLM.
JBLM is our first work engine. You got the port.
We got the port. But we aren't, let's say, Seattle, Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland, in one really important way. That really important way is there are businesses that come to Seattle, Redmond, Bellevue simply to curry favor with multi-billion-dollar companies, right? Because you got all the big companies up there. Tacoma, we don't have that. So who invests in Tacoma? It's people who live in and around Tacoma.
Exactly.
And so the small business owners and medium-sized business owners in Tacoma are people who live in and around and are connected to this community. And it's really important that we recognize that. To me, what we need to do with economic development is understand that, embrace that. We need to understand how has the economy changed since the pandemic. How can we take advantage and bring additional growth without displacing what we have right now? There's a way, we don't have to grow by just, having new come here and then everything that's here is destroyed because of it. We can have growth together. And those are really important kind of factors. But, really important things are, how do we make it easier for people who don't have English as their first language, like my parents? To start and run a business and check all the boxes, dot every I and cross every T, because that's really important to get everything done. I've been supportive of and asked for policies where we make sure that we have forms available in as many languages as possible. We've invested in the language office to be able to do things like that because it has to be for everybody, not just people
Not just for,
who are very, proficient. In fact, I think some of the most, District 4 is one of the most multicultural districts.
I'm glad you said that.
Right?
If you didn't say that, I was going to
I
bring that up.
reflect that. I wasn't born here. I was born in India, and I came here when I was 6 years old.
Well, I was born in Mexico,
Yeah.
and, we need to help each other here.
And that story is all over our district. Is I wasn't born here. I came here. This is my home now, and I want to do something to be part of this home and want to build in this home.
Small businesses.
And some people, it's sometimes as little as just having a form available in that language.
No, I understand. I'm involved with business and on the east side, and it's a very the process in itself is pretty hard. Dealing with permits and health departments and things like that. But not if you don't even have it in your own language, it would be harder, I would think. And but is there any specific things that you'd like to say about the east side? Let's talk about the east side a little bit. Let's focus on right now. We're talking general Tacoma. Right now, one of my biggest concerns of Tacoma is a little bit of a food desert with the Fred Meyer closing. It seems like
it's absolutely an issue.
It's big in issues, and also one of the things that I think there was a couple of major companies that kind of shifted out of the east side. Maybe I don't know, but what do you think of the east? Just tell us a little bit about the people or the area you represent.
Yeah. Well, I've knocked on 4,000 doors all over.
Okay.
And I've talked to a lot of people. The east side. East side reminds me actually of where I grew up in New York City. I grew up in the borough of Queens, and I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, and it's not that different. But what I love about the east side is one of the most welcoming places that my wife and I have ever been to. People have been very welcoming. They've accepted us. People are real. People have real, concerns. They're pragmatic. They're practical. People want all of us to succeed. That's what I've seen about the east side.
Yeah.
We're working class. In the pandemic, more of us in the east side had jobs where you had to go somewhere.
Exactly. I had to commute to Seattle every day for 17 years. Yeah.
We didn't have the luxury. There were fewer people on the east side that had the luxury of working remotely. Most people had jobs where they had to go somewhere. You worked on elevators or escalators. You worked in plumbing. You had to physically show up, and that's what I noticed a lot in the east side because we were real blue collar working class people, and that's my life and how how my family came up. So that was that's the east side to me. Yeah, I've fallen in love with it. My wife and I have fallen in love.
So we brought up Fred Meyer's. I'm glad you talked about that, but. Is the city? I thought the city might try to get involved with putting something there.
Our community economic development team is involved. They're talking to the owners. We're trying to see what we can do. These things just take some time, but it is absolutely front of mind. I do hope in the meantime, people also understand that we have other smaller markets. Right? You can go to Lincoln District and go to Hong Kong Market and several other grocery stores, Asian grocery stores over there. They carry staples. La Huerta Market on 56.
The 56,
right? We can go there too. Is that going to be enough? No, we do need something else. And we
have
working
Safeway
on
all the way to 72nd too.
There's a Safeway at 72nd. There's a Winco. I would love for people to come up and go to La Huerta, to go to New Day
Support the
Market,
local guys,
go to Hong Kong Market and Lincoln District, and support them as well because there's fresh food there.
Exactly.
And we should support those other businesses as well.
Yeah. Well, I can't read for some reason yet because it's my first show. I can't read all my comments, so there were a couple given to me.
Sure.
There's saludos from Marcos. Marco, buenas noches por escuchar el programa. And Wendy's asking about the plans to support culture in Tacoma. Is there any cultural designation, anything that we're working on that you may
It's a
understanding
great
that?
question. Tacoma Creates. We just reauthorized Tacoma Creates. I
Okay.
was so happy to be able to do that. It's 1/10 of 1% that goes towards the arts. 78% goes to arts and cultural programming. On the east side, specifically, we also had participatory budgeting. We had 12,000 votes because we had kids.
Yeah.
The top two vote getters was cultural and heritage programming and youth programming. We did our first Festival of Lights. We've helped do the Tet New Year's celebrations. Those I want to continue supporting. All of this programming. We're going to have a lot more of that.
Yeah. So
I think that's also something that's really, really unique to Tacoma. We're the first city that actually did that 1/10 of 1%.
yeah, and that was pretty unique. I remember a couple of times it fell by the pass, and I'm so glad I did. I'm so happy for the arts.
7 years ago, we got it
7 years
passed.
ago, yeah, we
and
got
then
it
we
passed.
just reauthorized it for another 7 years.
Another 7, exactly. I'm excited about that. Talking about the culture, as you know, we are on the east side, and a lot of our people are being affected. What's happening nationally right now? So, one of the things is the detention center here in
Yep.
Tacoma, and we know we have. What do you see? How is the city involved? Anything that the city's doing? Anything that you're doing personally? Anything that?
I'll talk about some of the stuff I'm doing. Within 1 month of this president being sworn in February, I noticed something. I talked to our city attorney. I noticed that there was a state law that was really supposed to help protect immigrants, but it only applied to our police department. It didn't apply to others. So I sponsored a resolution that ensures that every department in the city of Tacoma, all of us have that same policy. It basically says we as a city will not voluntarily support or participate in any federal registration or surveillance program that targets people on a protected class, like race, religion, citizenship status, immigration status, unless we are compelled to by a legal and valid court order. Obviously, we have to put that in. But it has to be a legal. And why is that important? Well, in Idaho, they were going into cities and saying, give me everyone you know with the name of Jose Chavez in this city, right? Well, with this policy, it says, well, we're not going to just give you everybody. But if you have like a specific person because there was a warrant and there was an investigation and there's legal reasons why you need this one individual whose last name address was here, who's about this age and blah, 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 then we'll give you that one person's information because you have a legal warrant for it. But we're not going to give you all 300 or something in the city. That was important. So I wrote that resolution. We got that passed.
Wow. Well, thank you for that.
Council Member Diaz and I, we were co-sponsors with other council members on getting $20,000 to Aid Northwest. They do a lot of work for detainees that are released. Detainees who are released don't have any real support. I think there's a funny rule, if I'm not mistaken, and someone who's listening might know better, but from what I understand, they only release you if there's an address you can go to, but they don't check if you have the ability to get to that address.
Wow.
So some people are just basically let out in the middle of the Port of Tacoma. I have been really frustrated by how limited the powers of the city are around it. It has been one of the most frustrating things for me as an immigrant, as a foreign-born immigrant.
Yeah.
As knowing that we have a private
Me and
jail.
you, even though you're Indian and I'm Mexican, they'll look at you. They don't know.
They don't know. To have a private facility that is holding people civilly detained. I mean, these aren't, there are some people who've contacted me. They're like, well, illegal this, illegal that. These are all criminals. I'm like, no, none of these. That's not
Most
true.
of them are not criminal.
And whether you are or not, we have something called due process rights in this country. And I think those rights are being trampled on.
Exactly. I think it's time to, even if it's a municipal level and your hands are tied, but I think standing together against this administration would definitely be a good thing.
I've sponsored and helped on Know Your Rights things. I'm doing everything I possibly can officially, and I'm doing a lot of things personally by going to as many rallies and and other things as possible. I mean, I have a newborn son right now. This is important to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about you on this. Well, actually, I got one question
Sure.
here. Yara Morales is asking, what is your message to immigrants, business owners who are fearful to operate because of the current political climate? They're afraid not only for themselves, but for their clients and the issues of causing financial burdens on their businesses at a local level. What can you contribute to guide this area of community? So basically,
In my
fear.
district, it's really talking. I had a moment of really understanding the depth and gravity of this role that I'm in. You know, I laugh. I said, you know, it took me a few months, but I got used to people yelling at me. Because a lot of people yell
It
at
comes
you.
with the part, yeah.
It's with this job, people
They
will
gotta
yell
get
at
their
you.
frustrations out.
And there are a lot of people who are frustrated. And I understand that they're yelling at what I represent and not me as a person. Because if we went out and had a beer or whatever, that we could probably get along, most of us.
Yeah.
But then they yell. I realized the gravity of this situation when it was in February. It was one of the reasons I sponsored this. It was January, February. Instead of someone coming and yelling right in my face, someone tapped me on the shoulder. I said, okay. Oh, hi, can I talk to you? And we went to the side and they started whispering. And they whispered, they're like, I'm very concerned about someone I know. They may not have all the documents. And I realized that's what this federal administration is doing, is it's making us whisper and be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
And so that was one of the reasons why I sponsored that resolution, to ensure the city as a whole has a policy that won't participate in this way. I go out to as many businesses as I can. I go into Lincoln District. There was a whole issue with being concerned. I actually came out with Chief Jackson.
Okay.
When she got appointed, Chief Jackson and community liaison officers, we went to that business district. We went to another business district near 72nd and Portland and talked to some business owners there. Those are some of the few things that I could talk more, but really it's about being present and being in community. That's what's really important in this time right now.
Well, yeah, I hope this answers a little bit of your question. Thank you for writing it out. I appreciate your support. Also, one of the things that was interesting in this question that I feel like I probably would like to hear from you, because you are representing the company, the fear factor of it. I mean, I know probably what you're going to answer is going to be, don't be.
No, that's not going to be my answer. I'm afraid too.
You're afraid too. Okay, so that's my concern as a business owner on the east side, and also
we can't allow that fear to rule everything, and we have to know that where we live, we have those. We, by and large, have. Most of us have the values that are not in agreement with this federal administration, and. I am ready to tell our city attorney if ICE comes here or something, we, to do lawsuits or to do demonstrations or to do everything in our power to show that even if we are afraid, we are going to stand up for ourselves.
Exactly, and I'm also going to say that I'm not running, but if for me as somebody participating on the east side of the business, I feel that try to leave as normal possible. Leave normal. Be cautious. And everybody has a target on their back, but do not let fear take over your way of being. Try to be normal, because a lot of people are hiding, a lot of people are shutting down business, and it's not good for your local economy either. So
That's
your
a good
business.
Point. We shouldn't not do the right thing because we're afraid of evil people doing more evil things because we're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
So keep doing the right thing.
Well, Yara again says Yara Morales says, I also want to share that Sandesh has showing up to Latino businesses, especially for milestone celebrations, and they feel seen. Your work does not go unnoticed. Thank you.
Oh,
So that's the community saying thank you for,
that's
because there's nothing like having a politician sitting up in the board desk and you never see him somewhere.
yeah.
You know, to me,
You can't do that.
You can't forget who you're representing. And bottom line is, it sounds like, you know, unfortunately, I've been going through some things, so I haven't been out there with you. But you gotta notice your people. You cannot sit on the king throne and not be down with the people, you know. And I was just sorry I know you know that, so. But anyways, I want to go. This is my favorite part. I want to continue knowing you as a person. Yeah, that's the policy part. And believe it or not, we only got a few more minutes.
Oh, really?
This is going by fast.
Wow, this is fast. You told me an hour. I thought, what are we going to talk about?
Right now we're used to the Washington now, but when you come back, it's going to be the Juan Hour show. Talk about you just had a child. How
Yeah,
was it like?
my wife.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
First one?
Very first one.
Wow.
And I'm an old dad.
Oh.
I'm an old dad.
You're not that old. Come on.
45 years old.
Oh my God, you're still, you know.
I make fun of myself, and I said we had our first child. It's a boy, so my son, and I have to hold him a little further away to see him clearly because I'm starting to need reading glasses.
Yeah, you're at that point. Welcome to my world. You know, I'm wearing my ears.
So happy, and one of the best things, you know, campaigns can be tough. People just say things about you. They believe things about you. It was getting very. It was difficult for me personally to deal with the campaign part. I love knocking on doors, talking to people one-on-one, and then our son was born right at the primary.
Wow.
And so I basically have taken 2 months off, and it's been the best 2 months.
Yeah.
I think people say this because people have said this to me. I didn't realize I could love something like this.
Yeah.
Someone like this. Sorry. I didn't understand. And then when he started smiling a few weeks ago.
Oh my gosh.
And then you're holding him, and then you see him recognize you, and then seeing him in my wife's arms and sitting there.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's an amazing love. You can never forget.
I'm
proud of you. I'm proud of you because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm too old, whatever." And now you have a baby.
I mean, waking up and then sometimes seeing my wife there with. Sometimes she's holding him and he's asleep, and then whether you wake up or just come and just see them both there, it's just one of the most. I am in a very good place in my life. My wife and I are in a great place in our life right now. We're so grateful because we haven't always been.
Oh no! Oh, but believe it's a struggle.
And you have to.
You say you just moved a few years ago from another state.
Yeah, we had
starting
no
all
real
over.
friends,
Starting all
yeah.
over. Yeah.
And you know, I couldn't think of a place. You know, I grew up in New York City. I remember thinking, how am I going to raise a child here? I love New York City in many ways, but it's a very frenetic place. And then having a child here has been just very peaceful.
It's more suburban here, okay? That's for sure.
Well, I'm also...
Depending where you're in New York, Bronx, or you're in...
I was in Queens. I was working in Manhattan.
Yeah, in Manhattan.
And then we lived in northern New Jersey for a while. But I love the idea.
I'm joking.
I love the idea of raising my child here.
You know, I got so excited to hear you that I forgot to translate a little bit. So let me translate a little bit. Para los que hablan nomás español, se me olvidó un poquito porque me metí con la plática de lo que está hablando Sandesh. Pero él estaba hablando de las cosas que afecta lo que está pasando nacional. Pero en lugar de explicarles a todos toda la plática, la línea más básica que pasó aquí es que hay que seguir una vida normal. No a poner... él también hizo mucho trabajo aquí en el lado de oeste de Tacoma y este de Tacoma, y él está haciendo está presente con los negocios latinos. Yara Morales me preguntó unas preguntas y le dio sus gracias. Él platicó que también él acaba de tener un bebé. Para el lado personal de él, no salimos de lo político porque ando bien alegre que está comenzando vida nueva como padre y de tener a su bebé. Se cree un poquito viejito porque necesita lentes, pero está bien. Ya casi llegamos aquí al final, tenemos unos minutos y le quiero dar muchas gracias a todos los que nos están siguiendo. Es mi primer programa de regreso, so mi lengua, el modo como está corriendo el programa, un poquito diferente, pero vamos a seguir. La próxima semana voy a tener el próximo candidato que está corriendo por la misma posición. Y también vamos a tener más gente que está corriendo para posiciones en la ciudad en los próximos días. Y voy a ver si podemos atraer gente aquí que haga diferencia. Acuérdense, el 4 de noviembre, we have to vote, 4th of November. Thank you for helping me, by the way. You got stuck with the 5th for some reason. And, but we are very happy to have Sandesh, right? Sandesh Sadalge. And I'm sorry with this. I bet with names to begin with, but
it's fine.
I'm sorry.
I look like this because I have a newborn at home, right? Like I don't have time to shave.
Está preocupado que se ve todo así afuera porque acaba de tener su bebé, entonces anda todo desvelado. You haven't slept, right?
We have not slept. We're starting to sleep like 3.5 hours.
Okay, if you win again, you better be sleeping.
He's starting to sleep a little bit, so I'm
right.
getting it, yeah.
So is there anything else you'd like to bring up or say? Is there any, we got a few minutes. Is there anything that you would like to say to the people?
Yeah.
And I could translate if I have to, so go ahead. I'll give you a couple minutes to
have been
speak
so
here.
fortunate in my life to do this. I feel like I've grown as a person just this last year. And it's a heavy but important responsibility when you have people that are looking for you to do the right thing for them. And that's what this is all about. And to do that is to connect with community and talk to people. And it has been just wonderful to meet so many thousands and thousands of people now in our district. And in our part of Tacoma, and I am just so grateful for having that opportunity. So whether I win or lose, I hope I win, but whether I win or lose,
you guys speak like a winner. Say when I win. Say when I win.
When I win.
There you go.
I've already been changed for the better.
Yeah.
By doing this, and it's a hard job. It's a hard job. It's a hard job. There's a lot to it. But to hear things like Ms. Morales or others saying that they appreciate seeing things like that makes it worthwhile. And to make a world that my son can grow up in, it makes it worthwhile.
Let me translate one more, and I think we're done for this. Le pedí que diga lo que quiera decir de su corazón. Ya estamos aquí cerrando el programa. Pero él dice que conocer millones de sus vecinos lo hace sentir con mucho alegría, y también quiero que ustedes acuérdense de él, y cuando voten vean sus pamphlets y acuérdense de él si les gusta lo que dijo ahora en la noche. Muchas gracias por lo que me están escuchando. Thank you for everyone who's listening to us tonight. And thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
And this is going to be on our Facebook, and it's going to be on YouTube. So if you want, please share it with people. If you know anybody that need to listen to the candidates in Spanish and in English. Well, it's mainly English right now. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for listening to Washington Now. We'll see you next week with the next candidate.